What is up, Predators? It's Travis here with Apex Predator Outdoors. Today we're outside. We're going to take a look at the stabilizers that I've been using here, and these are the Control Freak stabilizers by Conquest Archery. These are actually really good stabilizers, and today we're going to talk a little bit about why I recommend them and why they're just a badass choice whenever you're looking for stabilizers. So without further ado, guys, let's do further. So before I started building the new bow platform with the Prime Inline 5, I actually bought these stabilizers here to help me kind of try to maximize what I could get out of my Martin Max 33. So the Martin Max 33 is a great bow, but overall, like I say, it doesn't have quite the stability that some of these new bows have, as well as this Prime Inline 5 here. I had a few Beast Angler stabilizers for my last bow, and they worked good, but I was never just super impressed. Like, they didn't give me anything super exciting. And I mean, at the end of the day, a stabilizer is a stabilizer. There's really just one purpose to a stabilizer, and we'll get into that in a second. But I found these at a shop near where I hunt at my dad's ranch. I found these a package of these stabilizers that comes with the two stabilizers, a 12-inch back bar, a 15-inch front bar. Then it has a offset bracket here, so you can shoot both of the front stabilizer and the rear stabilizer off of the same front mount there. This bow does have a rear stabilizer mount down here, which I've thought about using. I haven't really got around to getting a bracket that'll work in there yet. We will be tinkering with this, so tune into later videos for more of that. But what I ended up doing is I went with these stabilizers because really they just give an option for a very, very light bar and a decent amount of weight off the front. They also have a very streamlined appearance here, so you can see that the weights here are really not much bigger than the actual bar itself here. So this is the Control Freak 500. This is the 500 Hunter series, and they have something really unique here called the SMAC wrap, S-M-A-C wrap. And I'll put what that stands for somewhere on the screen here so you understand that. But basically it's supposed to be really good at, you know, without having to add a bunch of rubber to this. It's supposed to be really good about deadening the sound and making sure that you don't have any noises from that vibration, and that it kills some of the vibration before it gets or as it goes through the stabilizer. The stabilizers are pretty lightweight themselves, and so whenever I take these off, each stabilizer weighs this much. I'll put it on the screen here, and that's in ounces. So like I say, each one, the bar itself is really light, and so whenever you have a stabilizer on there, you want to make sure that your bar weighs next to nothing. That includes the hardware that's on there as well, and then that way you can put the weight out away from the bow, and that's going to give you the most stabilization while you're holding the bow. So the reason I chose this setup here, like I say, was because the 15 in the front, 12 in the back gives me the most spread out, or one of the most spread out stabilizer options without being too ridiculously heavy, I guess you'd say, too ridiculously long as well. So like I say, one thing you want to look for is what length can you stand in a stabilizer. Are you able to get away with something a much shorter? You might want to do that, because like I say, this isn't for everybody. But what's really great is this system is very adaptable for me. So like I say, I'm able to use the 15-inch front bar and the 12-inch front back bar here for most things. But if I need to switch, all I have to do is I have to take this out here. 15-inch front bar gone. Now I can actually move this on the fly here, move this 12-inch front bar out here, okay? And that even fits in that offset downward facing bracket there. Now I can do the 12 there, and then I have a separate 6-inch that I can put in the back here. So now I've significantly shrunk the length of my stabilizers here, while increasing the weight just a little bit, because I have to put more weight on there to help keep that balanced. So that's kind of the big trade-off in a stabilizer, without going through too much detail about it. So what you really want to do is you want to be able to have to put as little weight as possible on your bars here, so that you can get overall just less weight on the bow. So this bow by itself is like a little less than 5 pounds, right? But with the sight, with the stabilizers, the bracket, I've got the spider, bow spider thing on here, and with the bipod on here for the legs, this bow weighs in at about 7 pounds, okay? Which is not light by any means, by any stretch of the imagination, really. So again, I want to be able to strip as much of that weight off of here as possible. The easiest way to do that, get a longer bar and less weight. So again, this should weigh as little as possible. That way you can control the weight here. So real quick, like I say, this thing has been really great, and I've instantly noticed that how much better it makes my shots and how much more consistent my aiming is and everything with it. But a couple of things that are really, I think I used some improvement. One is that the screws that come with it are incredibly long. So basically what I ended up having to do to solve this issue for myself, you know, so basically this is, with just one weight on there, I have that much screw sticking out there. I can't go any further down in here for this, right? If I only want one screw or one weight on there, then I've got that much more screw sticking out. And that's, I don't like that. I'm not a big fan of that. So what I ended up doing was taking the cheap route and 3D printing a little piece on here that's the same size as that weight. I can just screw this on the end there. And then it's got the little Apex Predator Outdoors logo on there, and now I got that screw covered up, and it protects the threads on the screws so they don't get screwed up as well, just in case I need them later. There is an option to buy a short screw to go in there, but then you have to pay for shipping, and you have to wait for it to come in, all that stuff. Some bow shops have the short screws and they just give them to you, or you can buy them from a bow shop. But again, I wish that it just came with the option to have those, like maybe at least even one of the short screws. That would have been a much better option than to just have none in the package there. So it worked out okay on the back bar here, because again, I got 2 weights on the back bar, and so that was plenty right there to make that, the screw there was plenty long enough and plenty short enough to get those weights on there. Something else I think that they can improve on with this is the bracket here. So the offset bracket here, it's really durable. It's a little heavy, but another thing is too, is there's no locking, there's no teeth in there. So if I bump this while I'm walking, oh, you hear that? So again, I was walking in actually with this, and you can hear, if I hit that on my leg while I'm walking, I get a little squeak out of that. I don't like that. So I would much rather there be some teeth in there, and those teeth would kind of help keep everything stable and keep it locked in. But what I have to do to basically compensate for that, to make sure that those don't make that noise and to make sure they don't actually get off of where I'd set them to balance, is I have to actually tighten it down really tight. You can also put some Loctite in between there, so I'll loosen it all the way out, put just a tiniest little dab of Loctite in there, and then sink it down. And it's really not going to, if you bump it, it's not going to make any less noise, but it kind of just gives it some more friction in there. So it keeps it from, you know, doing any slipping or anything like that, and it doesn't squeak as bad whenever you do that. I'm going to give that a shot, and I'm going to try that out, and I'm going to come back to you guys and let you know how that goes. So I got some footage that's been playing over here, and this was basically me trying to shoot with these stabilizers with my old bow in a 30-mile-per-hour wind. It was incredibly windy, where the point where I couldn't even really record audio for that video, so I just used it as an overlay here. But basically there was a 30-mile-per-hour wind blowing everything around, and still I was able to hold on to target really well at 40 yards. But overall, guys, great stabilizers. I highly recommend you try them out. I prefer them to the bee stingers and some of the other ones that I've worked with. So, but again, at the end of the day, a stabilizer is a stabilizer. There's 3 things that are really important in a stabilizer. One is the thickness of it, the length, and the weight. With no weights on it, how light is it, right? Because you want that to be as long as possible and as light as possible. The bar itself to be as light as possible, so that whenever you throw the weights on there, you're not having to add more weight to compensate for the fact that your bar is a little heavy as well. So, but anyways, guys, thanks for tuning into this video. Thanks for watching the channel. And as always, guys, keep defying the odds. Peace out.